Okay, y'all, I've been covering the Diddy trial, and there's a bunch of stuff that's been happening here and there. We need to talk about the Kazakhstan orphanage. So I'm covering the Diddy trial live the other day, and I don't even remember who's on the stand. We're talking about the Kid Cudi stuff, and there was a whole drama in the timeline of the Diddy trial with Kid Cudi. Cassie basically started dating him. Diddy didn't want her to be dating Kid Cudi. Calamity ensues. Diddy ends up in Kid Cudi's house, according to testimony. Ends up busting into the Christmas presents for Kid Cudi's family members. They were from Chanel, apparently, not sponsored. So a question comes up about where Diddy was or the whereabouts or whatever, and it's Diddy's lawyer is cross-examining the witness, and Diddy's lawyer is like, I think it was Mark Agnifilo, if I recall correctly. He's like, were you aware my client, Mr. Combs? That's a little more Southie than New York. Anyway. One of the lawyers is like, are you aware that Diddy, Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs, was actually visiting an orphanage in Kazakhstan at that very time? And I'm just like, with a lawyer like that, who needs a prosecutor? Who needs a prosecutor? Because that is the worst alibi I ever freaking heard, because I immediately have questions. First question comes to my mind, why was Diddy at an orphanage at all, especially in Kazakhstan? Come to find out, you couldn't even adopt. You couldn't even adopt a child from outside of Kazakhstan. Nobody outside of the Kazakhstan could adopt a child. So what is Diddy doing rolling through at the time where he needs an alibi, I guess, or whatever, because Kid Cudi calamity is ensuing? Questions arise. So I looked into it. I promised my subscribers, the viewers that day on the video, that I was going to look into it more and make a BJ Investigates on it. So here we are. So I want to run through kind of the timeline of events in a couple points. And then after that, we're going to look specifically at this article, because just the article alone, it could be enough, you know. So the year is 2011. It's the end of the year. Diddy traveled to Kazakhstan, specifically to the city of Almaty, I don't know how to say that. But he did it as part of a, quote, goodwill tour to Kazakhstan. Why? I mean, Kazakhstan does look pretty. It looks beautiful. And it's like, I've seen videos, I think, about this country where it's like hard to visit there. You got to get a special permission visa. You got to really state a good reason and all. It's like this beautiful, pristine. It's like one of them countries you hear about over there in the Istans. Turkmenistan is another one. It's like all this beautiful architecture, and like the people are kind of interesting looking. Like it looks like a diverse mixture of different types of people there. You just wondering, maybe I want to go visit over there. It's hard. You got to get a special permission and passport thing, visa. Well, here's Diddy just frolicking through, and he made a notable stop at Orphanage 2 in Almaty. Now, the details of this are kind of hard to come by, even today in the United States, but at the time it really wasn't almost covered seemingly at all in the US, but it was very well documented and covered by the Kazakhstani outlets. So Diddy brings gifts to this orphanage, branded hats, t-shirts, a TV, the other outlet said televisions, so I don't know, a TV or maybe more, and music CDs. Well, was it his debauched and deranged and depraved music? Because he should have kept it to himself. The goodwill tour should have been keeping that nasty music to himself. That would have been better will. This is a bad will tour, if you ask me, not to be confused with Will Smith. Okay. So here's Diddy at the orphanage with the children. Images did circulate at the time, including images of him smiling beside a young boy named Raheem Rushanov. Okay, so this is where the story takes a little bit of a turn to something that, I mean, when I heard Diddy was at a Kazakhstan orphanage, I got a tingle on the top of my head, and it wasn't in a good way. It was like, why? Maybe Mark Agnifilo should have kept that detail to himself and not reminded people, because it seems like odd. But then when I start looking into Raheem, it gets odder, not to be confused with Oddie. Anyway, so this one boy stood out to Diddy, Raheem. At the time, he was 13 years old, and he did an interview later on with Tengra News. He says he vividly remembers the fateful day that Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs came to the orphanage number 2 in Almaty, Kazakhstan. This is a quote from that interview he did. He held my hand. He patted me on the back. Kept saying, thank you, thank you. Now, you might be wondering why he was thanking him. This child, Raheem, he was tasked with showing Diddy around. He was kind of the Tour guide. Yeah, tour guide. Okay, so this is weird. Raheem says that he was told by the orphanage staff that after Diddy left, after Diddy's visit was over, that Diddy wanted to adopt him. Not only that, he wanted to adopt him, take him back to the United States and give him a new life. Okay, this is what Raheem did an interview and said this, that he was told this. And when we get into the article in a minute, it's like more details and it's really sad. Shortly after they were going through these talks, he was told that it actually wasn't possible, and the reason given was because he had 2 sisters. They were also at the orphanage, and for some reason, him having 2 sisters meant he couldn't get adopted by Diddy. Now, maybe one might say, oh, Diddy's so nice, he didn't want to separate the brothers and the sisters. Some might argue maybe he didn't just want 2 witnesses to say, you know, Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs came and picked up my brother from the orphanage, and we never saw him again. It's also possible it's not true. It's also possible this is Russian propaganda. Yeah, and there's this whole side plot about the very next year, adoption from Kazakhstan became legal all of a sudden. However, at the time all these talks were going on, it wasn't. But it makes me wonder. It just makes me wonder. I was trying to save some of these details for from the article, but there was a concert. There was an hour-long, basically, talent show for Diddy while he was there at the orphanage. It was an hour long. The kids were performing, and then he's like, oh, I want that one. For what? It just makes me think of all these Star Search. Usher was on Star, so like these talent competitions. Making the Band is a talent competition show where you get people to come audition and do a talent show. So it's just, you know, why? At the time, they were allegedly telling this kid, according to what he said in this interview, that he was going to be getting adopted, and it fell through because of the sisters. It didn't fall through because it was illegal. It didn't fall through because it wasn't allowed. And then it just makes me remember that Diddy has this black Gulfstream up at issue. Well, it wasn't made till 2015. I don't know, maybe he didn't have a private jet at that time, but like things are just kind of like, wait, he's out of the country, Kid Cudi's going through calamity as promised. Diddy, also the timeline doesn't really add up with that either, because January 2012 is when the car blew up, and I think that's what he was trying to use it as an alibi for, but that's neither here nor there here. But even if there was a law allowing this adoption at the time, the adoption laws that do exist now, they generally discourage splitting up siblings. So maybe it was just because he was doing a goodwill mission. I mean, I don't know, did he adopt any kid ever? Is this story even real? All that. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not allowed to go there. I don't have the special visa. Anyway, so Diddy was reportedly not interested in adopting the girls. He only wanted to adopt Raheem. Now, was it real or was it just a misunderstanding? The former director of the orphanage has spoken out and denied any formal adoption conversation ever took place. She said she didn't recall Diddy making any adoption requests either, and she suggested the whole thing might have been a joke or a misunderstanding. Anyway, Raheem is not having any of that. Okay, he is like, nope. I was told directly by the orphanage staff. He said, my memory has not changed. Anyway, now he's an adult and he continues to reflect on that strange encounter as a formative memory, one full of hope and confusion. So why is this back in the spotlight now? Well, in Diddy's recent legal controversies, somebody was cross-examining, somebody was sitting on the stand testifying against him, it came back up. People online are re-examining. It's me. A viral Reddit post recently brought up the Kazakhstan story again, calling it disturbing and eerily overlooked. There's other commentators speculating about Diddy's true motives of visiting. Maybe he needed an alibi from the Kid Cudi thing. Maybe he wasn't really going for charity, but he needed a write-off or something else. Knowing what we know now, it just hits a little differently, I'll say. Anyway, so let's take a look at this article right here. This is from the 10 Degree News, and this is the interview that Raheem, the little boy who was supposedly going to be adopted by Diddy all the way back whenever Kid Cudi was suffering tremendously, according to his testimony, he did this interview, okay? He told how P. Diddy wanted to adopt him in 2011. Controversial, and when did this article come out? 2024? 2024. So he had already been arrested and everything. Currently facing accusations of crimes, he visited Almaty's Orphanage number 2 in 2011. Izvestia tracked down a former resident who welcomed and accompanied Diddy within the facility. Raheem, now 27 years old, currently rents an apartment in Almaty. He works as a bartender in the summer and a gas boiler repairman in the winter. He shared that he entered the orphanage at the age of 6. When P. Diddy visited, Raheem was 13 years old. So this is a quote. He said, we greeted Diddy. We greeted him. I always say this is a quote and then I change it immediately. We greeted him, gave him a tour, of the orphanage, showed him the rooms and the gym. And then there was a concert for about an hour, after which he signed autographs. So he's bringing his CDs, he's getting them to like his music, and then he's like, oh, look, I'm going to sign an autograph. He constantly held my hand, patted me on the back, and said thank you. For me, that felt like praise. The boy found it difficult to understand the musician's speech because he didn't know English. The only thing that was translated was Diddy's desire to take him from the orphanage. He spoke in English, and I was only translated the phrase, he wants to take you away with him. The topic was discussed for a month. He said I even had hope. I was from an orphanage, and an American star wanted to take me to America. It felt like a dream, but the adoption didn't happen. Again, it was not possible legally to officially adopt a child from Kazakhstan at the time. I was told he wanted to take only me, while I had sisters, Raheem said. Ooh, look at him. He's got a little toy or something, and he got his suit on him. My Lord. However, the former director of the orphanage, Akmaral Shateva, exclaimed when asked if P. Diddy actually showed interest in adopting a child during his visit. Oh, come on. There was no such thing. The fact she did it like that, now I believe the whole story. Because it's like that evil orphanage, trope lady, like the mean lady in charge. She's convinced it could have been somebody's joke. Somebody was joking with him and translated it wrong or something. This former director believes that Diddy's visit may have been necessary to justify the charitable purpose of the trip, as he stated in his documents, to come to Kazakhstan. So it's like, oh, I'm coming for a charitable purpose to visit an orphanage. So even she's like, oh, maybe it was just she was scheming. He was trying to get in. The rapper, Diddy, brought hats, CDs, and televisions for the children, as reported in the media. The institution has long been closed. What they did with the kids from inside there, I don't know. But the former director notes that former residents are upset at hints in the media about dark motivations behind the visits. Now look, listen, did I hear any hints in the media about this? No. This lady is about to put it on my radar, and I'm not going to be able to forget it. The former director of the orphanage that Diddy visited, quote, there was never a case when foreigners expressed a desire to take children from our orphanage. It's hard to hear that people are writing about selling children. Order in the court. Order in the court. Where's my megaphone? I need to report a crime. It's really serious out here. It has gotten serious out here because nobody was talking about this. Department of Homeland Security investigation. Tell me why. Children are not commodities. The quote goes on. You can request information from the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to see the real picture. I'm sure they're going to give us the real picture. The former director expressed her outrage. I mean, she's the one being accused of selling children. I did not know that. She is the one who said that, so that could be even false. Who knows? Who knows if any of this is real? I mean, the article did come out after Diddy was arrested and stuff, but there is this picture right here. I don't know about this story, everybody. That's all I had for this one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Love you, mean it, Kate. Bye. Take it back to the hometown. At 225. Don't make 'em like this no more. Take it to the dance floor. Really never heard it like this before. My DJ and your DJ, they sat down on a bio. My DJ don't play no game. He throw that fire. He throw that. Aiko one day. He throw that. Chakamoon Pinani. He throw that. My DJ and your DJ, they say Aiko one day. He throw that. Chakamoon throw that fire. My grandma to your parent, they sat down on a bio. My grandma say your parent, I set this camp on fire. Talk about it now. Aiko one day. Listen, let my phone let me shine because I could do this all day. I could do this all day. Back to the hometown. I-10 westbound. Show 'em what I'm talking about. Show 'em like this. It's that 225. It's that 318. That 504. That overdrive. Little pump, big fish. One shot, don't miss. Heard it like this before. Back to the dance. dance floor.